Hello. Okay, for the next 3 weeks, you're going to be working on a branding project in teams. So this is a group project. Um, First, I want to explain a little more about branding. I've used that word, so hopefully you have an idea of it, but I'm going to talk a little more about it. This is a really good definition. It says the art and science of influencing perception about a product, service, or organization. So that is the cumulative impression a person gets about a business or organization based on every single experience they have. So that includes a lot more than graphic design, but it definitely, graphic design and every visual experience they have is a big part of it. So these are some different things that are involved: the price, the value, the content, customer service. Like when you go to Starbucks, they're known for having good customer service. And if a barista is rude to you at Starbucks, that would be really like unusual. That would not be within the Starbucks brand. um, okay, so there's kind of two different areas. The brand identity has more to do with what the business puts forward on purpose, and the brand image is the ways the customers actually perceive you. So hopefully those are the same, but not necessarily. So branding is only successful when a customer, hold on, I have to let my dog outside. Bye. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so you have brand identity, and the logo is the cornerstone of the visual brand identity. So it starts with the logo. With the logo, you establish concept, you establish some visual elements that you plan to repeat, like color and types of shape and the feel of it. In this project, you're going to be creating a branding set. So every person will create their own, but the first 2 out of the 3 weeks, especially, will be heavily group work. And then the third week, you will come together and sort of critique each other's projects, but the third week will be more independent. So it's going to have a mood photo. In this one, that would be this eucalyptus image that just gives a feeling. It exudes the same feeling and essence you want for your business. Color palette, primary logo should be at the top. A black and white logo, 1 or 2 alternative logos. So we'll get more into that later. Fonts, I want you to have 2 for this. It might have a business card. I'm not going to require a business card for this. Here's some more examples of those. You can see they handle it a little bit differently, but it's the same overall idea and elements. This mood board right here is a really good example of what the first part of your project will be. You will have 2 to 3 photos that show the feeling. I'm going to talk about that more too. So week 1, you will get together with your teams, make sure and look at the schedule for like exactly what I expect you to do every day. But you need to get with your team, talk about, kind of brainstorm initially what you want your business to be. I'm giving you 3 options of different types of businesses. One person in your group is going to be the creative director. Now, if you have already watched the video on the link that I sent, the YouTube video, it's a TV show about branding. Then you'll see the example of the creative directors in that, and that they all work together as a team, but the creative director kind of sets a direction, sets the feel and the mood, And then the designers go and design based on what the creative director has said. So one person is a creative director, the rest are designers. The creative director will also be doing some design work, but I'll explain exactly what the different jobs entail in a minute. That person should be whoever volunteers for that. Now, one person has to do it. So if no one wants to do it and you just absolutely can't decide, I will pick, but please don't make me do that. Just decide amongst yourselves. It should be a person who feels like they have a good grasp of graphic design. Maybe they have a good eye for like design and art and conceptual stuff in general. So someone who's comfortable with the subject and feels like they can give like positive, inspiring feedback for everybody else. So they have more responsibility. The way I have outlined the different jobs, I think it should be the same time involved, like the same amount of work. It'll just be a little bit split up, different roles. The creative director will make the mood board. So that's the first thing that will happen on week 1. Kind of from Wednesday to Friday, the creative director will be making the mood board. After, as a group, you choose the business type, the name of the business, and just very briefly what you feel like the mood should be. So maybe as a group, you decide we want this to be really playful and casual. So then the creative director will go and make the mood board. So you're not going to go rogue and do something that is not what the group had originally decided. You're going to, everyone should work together well. But then the creative director makes the mood board. And I have another slide about that specifically. Each week, you need to have a group meeting, probably in the middle of the week. You schedule the meeting, and I'll come if I can. I won't necessarily be able to, or if you prefer that I not come, if you think it'll be a more productive meeting if I'm not there, then that's fine. I want to be there if it's helpful and not if it's not, and I won't be offended either way. So just creative director, if you think it would be better to have the meeting without me there first, then you just send me a message or something. For the mood board, you will include a color palette. This will set the direction for the font voice, but you don't have to write that out specifically because the entire mood board should imply that. You should have 2 to 3 photos purely for mood. That can be color, texture. It should evoke a feeling. It can be material, and it should also have, besides those 2 to 3 photos, so a fourth or a third photo should be interior design. See how you can see the room? That would be an example of the type of interior design elements you imagine for your business. So all of that should fit together. So this touches on the interior design profession, but they are related. So just find a picture online somewhere, Pinterest or Google, that fits. So you would be paying attention to colors, textures, material. Like, are you going to use a lot of wood? Are you going to use a lot of metal? Is it going to be really modern or more organic? So pay attention to all those things when you're finding your photos. The layout of the mood board itself should be well composed. Like this image example I have here looks nice. So keep that in mind. The goals for the mood board are that they please the client, because in real life, you would be working with the client to make sure that you are representing their vision for their own business. So you get to make this up for this project, but in real life, you have to work with a client. And then your second goal is for the mood board to give direction to the designers for them to jump into the logo design. Okay, week 2 will be the logo concept sketches and then developing one logo each. Like each person will develop their own logo. So by Monday at the latest, the designers need to have that mood board from the creative director. So once you have that, you need to I would start brainstorming just in your own way. So maybe that's thumbnail sketches, maybe it's more of a list of words. But, you know, I want you to cater that to just you and how you work. And then choose 4 ideas to, it's still in pencil, still black and white, still a sketch, but just a more carefully drawn sketch than what a thumbnail would be. So what makes a good logo? This is like super basic crash course because making a logo could be like a whole semester long class on its own, but these are some basic qualities that a logo should have. In the video that I'm asking you to watch, they say a logo should identify, not explain. So it should be conceptual, like be relevant to the business and say something about that business, but only to identify. So it can stay simple when you think about it that way. So it should be simple. The words need to be readable, whether they're small or big, because logos are very little sometimes, like printed on a piece of paper or on packaging. So it should work small or large. It should be recognizable at a glance. It should be relevant to the business, and the design decisions you make for the logo should be relevant to the concept of the business and the concept of the mood. Don't just do random things because they're pretty. Memorable, timeless, versatile. So it can work on different formats. It should be unique and interesting. Don't use cliches. There are a lot of overused cliche ideas, and that is just a sign of bad graphic design. It should be aesthetically pleasing. So it should look good. It should look nice. Like that's very simple. Here are some logo examples that I found that I like. I think they're clean, simple enough. Some are simpler than others, and that's okay. They're conceptual, they're well designed, they're balanced, they use a limited color palette. So you can look at this PDF of this whole presentation if you want to look at these more. Actually, I very much suggest downloading the PDF onto your computer so you can look at it a lot during this project. So as a reference. Okay. Still on week 2, each designer shares their 4 logo sketches on the Notes tab of your team's channel. So each of your teams will have a channel. I'm going to go to that slide really fast. It will look like this. So over on the left, I hadn't done it yet when I took this screenshot, but I'm setting up all of your design teams. So find your design team, and then you're going to have a tab that says notes at the top, and you can insert images, you can type. So that is where you will have a record of all of your collaboration. And I'm going to look at that for grading also. Just want to go back up here. Okay, so you put your logo sketch images, like do it on paper, but then take a picture, upload the picture onto the notes. Then you discuss suggestions for everyone's logos. Everyone gives feedback. I have some questions for you all to answer about each other's logos. Here are the questions. Which logo is the strongest conceptually out of the 4? Which logo fits the mood board the best? If you have a favorite out of the 4 logos, or if the group like decides that overall the group is leaning towards one. then what is one suggestion you might give to the designer to tweak the logo's design? So how to make it more balanced, how to adjust the actual like visual design of it. You can change proximity, you can adjust the typography, alignment. So think of all those design principles we learned earlier. And then I want you to talk about the answers to these questions, but then after your meeting, I also want you to add your own answers to that note so that it's written down and I can go back and see what you talked about. And then after the whole group has given feedback, it is the final say of the creative director for which of the 4 logos that designer will choose. So, this is like real life. In real life, a designer is gonna be accountable to somebody, whether it's a creative director or the client themselves, of which logo to use. So make sure you only put 4 logos up there that you like, that you're okay with the creative director choosing, and then that's the one you have to use. And then, so the creative director doesn't have to do the 4 sketches because they did the mood board. So to balance it out, that's what I decided. So what does the creative director do next? They will choose their favorite out of all of the designers' logos. So if there's 4 people making 4 logos each, they can choose between 16 logos, one that they want to develop into a finished logo themselves on the computer. So they can choose one of the designer's logos if they want to, or they can create a brand new idea for a logo if they want to. Like maybe all those logos gave them ideas about something new to do. My dog is whining, and I'm sorry if you can hear him. He wants to come back inside. I should let him in, shouldn't I? Okay, so you know how to get to your team. That means you have to be on Microsoft Team in the first place to get there. So look at all of these goats. Just look at all of them and the little differences and how this designer is brainstorming on paper while I let my dog in. Okay, so this is just to give you an idea of how you can use sketching to explore an idea and to expand your options. So when you have a design prompt, probably there will be 1 or 2 very obvious solutions, and those are going to be your cliches. Those are going to be your overused ideas that are the most obvious thing that anyone would think of. And so you have to write those ideas down in order to get past them, to have other ideas that are probably going to be better. So this is just a true fact about brainstorming. You will have more ideas and better ideas if you make yourself keep brainstorming and having more ideas. That's why I want you to do 5 or 10 thumbnail sketches for each project, because this is how our brain works. It's like a muscle that once you start generating ideas, that gets going and you have more ideas than you would have thought, that you would have expected. So here's some foxes. Same idea, just sketching stylized fox. I love this. I really can geek out about that kind of thing. Okay, 3rd week, branding set. I know this is a long video. Hopefully you will come back to it on the different weeks. So week 3 will be the branding set. So you'll be working independently for the most part. Each person creates their own branding set layout, but you will meet together midweek to critique each other's branding set page. That meeting should give substantial help on composition, for the layout of the page, critique font choice, give suggestions and feedback on the alternate logo. Does it look enough like the original logo, but also different enough? Ways that you can change it is in the orientation. It can be horizontal or vertical, or just the mark, just the picture part of it, or just the first letter. So what is a creative variation that still looks visually consistent with the original? And these 6 things are what you have to include in your branding set. These are your questions. Oh, I didn't finish the third one. Okay, well, in the PDF that I offer to you guys, I will put that third question on there. So how do they improve the logo? How can they improve the logo itself? Do the font choices fit the mood? Do they fit together? You want contrasting fonts. You don't want them to be too similar. So if you use a scripty font for one thing, you can use like more of a traditional font, or you could do a serif and a sans serif. So they need to be contrasting, but they also need to complement one another and look like they fit together decently. And that's just a matter of opinion. And then the third thing would be how to adjust those secondary logos and the layout in general. So how can they make their whole layout of that page look better? Okay, lastly, we're almost done. How will you be graded? Because this is a big project and it's going to be over a long time. So there's 3 different ways that I'm going to grade you. One is going to be on that notes page within your team channel. So A, B, C, D, E are all the things that I'm going to be looking for on that note. And so you will be adding to the same note over those 3 weeks. So your images of your progress, everybody's comments, a screenshot of your rough draft, and then another screenshot of the branding set page. And then you will submit a PDF size 11 by 17 of the branding set layout itself, your final product, into the assignment on Microsoft Teams, just like all the other assignments. And then I also want you to do these participation surveys I'm going to send out every week on Fridays. So everyone has to participate to get credit. This is not going to be a thing where everyone gets the same grade no matter what within one team, because that won't be fair. So everyone has to participate. If one person is not sharing the work, attending meetings, or giving critiques to help their teammates, they will not get the same grade. So in my surveys, I will ask, is everyone participating? Is everyone participating equally? Are people like being cooperative and easy to work with? And then that survey itself shows me that you are engaged and participating. Okay, so feel free to ask questions. I'm sure there will be some, but I hope you have fun with this. I am strongly considering using the same logo and business branding as the starting point for your final project also. So that'll be different for seniors, of course, because they are done sooner, but likely I'm going to have you make a poster or something for that business for your final. Or maybe I'll give you some options, and that will be one of the options for your final project. So have fun, be creative. I hope that you enjoy the extra social interaction that doing a team project will give. Try and be flexible with everybody. Creative director. I would like more communication from you, actually. Like, if there is a team member who just never shows up and never does anything, then you can go ahead and send me an email about that. Okay. Let me know what questions you